Hello, welcome to Web of Stories. My name is Melinda, and we are now officially in Big Book Summer. Or at least we are as you see this video, because I'm actually filming it on May 18th, so I have like another week until Big Book Summer. But I wanted to give you my Big Book Summer TBR / pile of possibilities. Now, I'm not someone who only reads big books during the summer, although I have a fair amount. I also am co-hosting the Read Historical Fiction 2025 event, so I have some historical fiction, and you've seen a couple of these books, but I also have some other books that don't really fall into either category, so I am still going to have a TBR video, and I'll refer you back to this one and the other one, and then I'll have a short video of other things that I will definitely be reading. So, Big Book Summer. Again, a big book is anything 400 pages or more. And I did a little investigating. I got my nifty Big Book Summer notebook out where I record the books that I read. And I had gone through my print shelves. And I noted every single novel, so it's only fiction, that I had that qualified as a big book. And I had quite a few. I also have a lot. Oh wait, I have another one. Sorry, just one sec. I got to add this one to it too. I have a lot of ebooks and audiobooks, and lots of times I don't know those are big books until I finish them. So there's always going to be more than that. But I counted up, I went to last year's, what I read last year, and I counted up the number of pages that I read. And last summer, just in big books, I read 3,115 pages. So I set a little goal for myself to read at least 3,500 pages in big books this summer. I don't think that's going to be a problem because I counted the pages of all the books I have here, not including the one I forgot and just added in. I've counted all those, and it was almost 4,200 pages, so we're good. But let me go through what I have, and I'll tell you if they are a definite or pile of possibilities. So let me start with the definite. This one, which is not counted in the page because I forgot about it, because I'm going to actually be reading this one. I have it here, obviously, Grapes of Wrath. I have it here, but I'm going to be reading a digital copy of it. Yesterday, as I'm filming this, Bookish Best Friend and I went to Powell's, and I wanted a Penguin Deluxe edition of this book, so it would look really nice next to my Penguin Deluxe edition of East of Eden on my shelf. So, but this one is 400 and something pages. Let me just tell you, 455, is that right? Let me go make sure it starts on page 1. That's a little trick they do. Sometimes they don't start on page 1. It starts on page 1. So 455 pages in The Grapes of Wrath. I will definitely be doing this because I have a buddy read going. I'm not entirely sure when this video is going out. So the buddy read may have already started. However, if you'd like to join us, we're on Voxer. Just let me know and I can add you to the Voxer group. The next two books I have, you saw in my Read Historical Fiction 2025 TBR because they are both on that. And that was my TBR / recommendation video. The first one is The Flames. This is set in early 20th century Vienna. And this fills the prompt Read Historical Fiction about art or features art. So that would be this one because it does have Gustav Klimt, and there's a lot about art in here. And then the second one I have is Anne Boleyn. Read historical fiction about a real person, Anne Boleyn. I have, as I'm filming this, tomorrow, I will be starting a buddy read of the Catherine of Aragon book. So I'm just going to continue on with this. Clearly, she was a real person. There you go. So you've seen those. So now let me show you the rest of the books that are more. Oh wait, I had one that I forgot. Where did it go? One more. This is another definite. In July, Bookish Best Friend and I will be buddy reading Mansfield Park by Jane Austen. If you haven't watched my channel for a while, you might not know this, but I am trying to repair my relationship with Jane Austen. I've read all of Jane Austen, but I read it all in school and I didn't like it. But I think I didn't like it because I had to write an essay on it. And so I am now trying to repair my relationship with her by reading her books just for fun. I started this last year, I did Persuasion, and I liked Persuasion. This was the reason we're doing Mansfield Park. There's two reasons. On my part, there were two books whose plot I remembered the least about when I started this. One was Persuasion, and the other was Mansfield Park. And so I remember the least of this, other than Persuasion. This is what I remember the least of. So it's as fresh as possible for me. For Bookish Best Friend, there is apparently a series where like the kids of Jane Austen characters or something, they solve murders. I don't know. She reads it. But the next book involves characters from Mansfield Park and she needed a refresher. So we're kind of buddy read this together. Okay, those are my definites. Now we'll get into my pile of possibilities. So continuing on with Anne Boleyn, we're going to follow her up. So I'm planning to read Anne Boleyn in June. In July, I would like to read Jane Seyrmour, The Haunted Queen. This is about Jane Seyrmour. Clearly, this is a series by Alison Weir. I have never read Alison Weir's fiction, although I do really like her nonfiction. So this is going to be a fun little experiment for me. And then in August, I will follow that up with Anna of Kleve. And yes, I do have Catherine Howard and Catherine Parr upstairs. I have the entire series. Have I read any of them yet? As of right now, no, I have not. So this will be my August book, Anna of Kleve. And then this is another big book. This is like a time traveling book. So it starts in 1740 and I think it comes to presentish day. So probably can count as historical fiction as well. But I don't know if I'm going to get to it in June. So that's why it's not on my historical fiction section. And this is Forever by Pete Hamill. So I got this book off the currently reading indie press list last year. And I was like, oh, this sounds so amazing. Have you guys? And then everyone said they'd already heard of this book. I apparently had not. So there you go. But it's time travel in New York from 1740. It sounds a little Addie LaRue-ish. I don't know, we'll see. But it sounded fascinating. So I hope to read this one. And then I have one that I've already vowed to read this book this year. So if I don't read it this summer, I got to read it in the fall. Because I have vowed to read this book this year. But it is a big book, so let's see if I can get it in the summer. And that is Stephen Copperhead. So this is the British. I got this from Blackwell's because it was a heck of a lot cheaper. But it is, how many? I wrote it down here. 546 pages. So I don't know how many pages it is in the US edition, but I'm doing the British edition. So yes, I paid like $11 for this, whereas in the US I could have paid like 30 something for the hardcover. So, you know, I was being cheap. But yeah, nothing but, I mean, I know people love this book. I deliberately put off reading it for a while because the hype was so high about it. And I wanted to let that kind of settle down before I read it. So I said 2025 is going to be the year that I read this book. So it's a big book. So why not read it during Big Book Summer? And then the last book I have, but this is of course not the last book I'm going to read or even the last book on my pile of possibilities. Actually, there's another one that I don't have here that I know I'm definitely going to read. I think it's over 400 pages. I'm not entirely sure, so don't hold me to it. But in August, my classic catch-up book is North and South by Elizabeth Gaskell. So again, if anyone would like to buddy read that with me, I'll have a Voxer room set up. I think Christina, who I've been buddy reading these books with, said she wanted to as well. So we can have a little group going, but I don't have that book here. So, you know, here you go. I have this book, which I meant to read last year during Big Book Summer and just didn't get a chance to. And that's Ours by Phillip B. Williams. I know that Ellen at Ellen Made Books has been trying to read this book. I don't know if she's ever succeeded, but I think it might also be historical. Yes. 1830s. It's like 1830s plantations. Oh yeah, you know, plantations are kind of in the news right now. One went up in flames, but that's a whole thing. But yes, I'm hoping to get this one. There's some magical realism in this. It's about, they start this town populated by people who have self-liberated, I think is the way they now say it, from the plantations. And I guess like white people can't see the town or something like that. I don't know. It sounded really fascinating. So those are my TBR and my pile of possibilities for Big Book Summer. I love Big Book Summer. It's a good chance to really hit those big books. And I don't read as many titles during the summer because I have reading bigger books. And I just realized there's another book I forgot. I'm doing great on this, aren't I? This one right here. This one just came. You probably haven't seen it on my shelves yet because you will see it on my my May book haul. But I got this from Aardvark and it looks fascinating. I've heard really good things about it. And that is The Pretender by Jo Harkin. So this goes back to the princes in the tower. You know, they disappeared. I think Richard III did them in. That was my wash machine, if you heard that. Sorry, I think the kids overloaded it. But this is about, there is a boy, I think he's a boy, maybe a young man in an English village who finds out that he is actually one of the princes in the tower. I don't know if this is like true history. I mean, like there was an event, there was something similar to this in history. I don't know if this is a novelization of that or just a novelization kind of with the same idea, but I've heard good things about this one. So we have that. Anyway, I would love to know what you are reading for Big Book Summer. And as I said, I have the buddy reads of Grapes of Wrath and North and South by Elizabeth Gaskell. But if anyone would like to buddy read any of these other books with me, I am doing Catherine of Aragon as a buddy read with commenter Abby. And I don't know, if we enjoy it, we might just keep doing those. And those are on Storygraph, by the way. We're doing those on a Storygraph buddy reads. You can join in if you want to do those. But anything else, let me know. I'd love to buddy read. I also like to know what you're reading for Big Book Summer. So let us know. And if you post anything about Big Book Summer, again, please use the hashtag Big Book Summer. Just we want to make sure everyone's using the same hashtag so we can find them and put them in the playlist, because it's kind of hard otherwise. Anyway, like, subscribe, join my Discord, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.